So let's get to work. Let's start getting into project setup, okay? And we're gonna approach setting up this model, right? That's a term, setting up a model, as if we had no other Revit models to work with, right? We don't have an architectural model, we have any other models. The reason why we're approaching it this way is because I want to show you guys that you can build an awesome Revit model without having to depend on anybody else. Revit is a workflow program. So if you have a workflow set up when you're dealing with CAD files and a separate workflow set up for when you're dealing with Revit models, you will just enjoy your life within Revit, okay? So let's go ahead and get this started. The first step that you should always do when you're dealing or creating a Revit model from scratch is the following. You set up your levels first and your grid second, and then you follow the sequence that is located in the index, right, that you guys saw there. So first, let's start setting up our levels. For that, I'm going to go to an elevation. Let's go to our south elevation. You can see over here on the left on my project browser, I've deleted like level 2 and the analytical levels. Okay, so I've simplified my project browser. So if I go to my south elevations, there's a couple of ways that you can create levels. I can select my existing level, and remember that Revit starts communicating with you and it tells you in a contextual tab what it can do to the level you selected. So if I hit escape, you see my ribbon cleared up. Now I'm going to select my level at the bottom, and I'm going to say I want to copy this level, and you can click anywhere, and I want to copy it up 15 feet. You can just type in 15 or 15 apostrophe. Okay, so there is 15 feet up, and it went to level 3. Now here's a cool little part of the graphics of Revit. We have a blue level head, and then we have a white level head. Now whenever something is blue, that means that there is another view linked to it. So if I double click on this, you can see in my project browser on the left that level 1 opened, and you can see that it's slightly bold. It made me active in level 1. So now if I go back to that elevation, you can see that double clicking on level 3 on that head doesn't do anything. That means that there is no associated 2D view. There's nothing linked to that plan, to that level. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to change the name of this level to level 2. So select the level and click inside of the name. Let's just change it to level 2. All right? And now under your View tab, what we're going to do is look for the Plan Views option under the Create panel. So click on Plan Views, and in this case we're going to go with Structural Plan. And Revit by default shows you the available levels that do not have a plan view, a bird's eye view attached to it. So let me hit OK. And you can see it populated here on the left. All right. So this is the first step that you should do every time you go to set up your models, is to figure out how many building stories. Okay, we're not talking about changes in elevations. We're saying every main building story is the level that you should create. Do not get crazy with how many levels you build. All right? Try to limit yourself to just building stories. Now let me show you another way of creating levels. Let's go back to our south elevation, and let's delete this level here. Just a nice little tip here. When you do a crossing window from right to left like this, anything that this rectangle touches gets selected. If I do a left to right crossing window, anything that is inside this box gets selected. Good little tip to know. So let me just select this level and delete it. Revit is telling me I'm going to delete that plan view you just created. Go ahead and hit OK. Now let's create a level a different way. I'm going to go to my View tab. Okay. Structure tab. And on the far right, under your Datum panel, I'm going to hit Level. Now, remember in a couple videos ago, we mentioned how when your cursor crosses to get to the model space or your drawing area, it has to naturally pass over the options bar. So let's look at the options bar. And now you get to do multiple tasks in one move. Now it's you can check the box for make a plan view, right? So now let's go over here and let's come a little bit down till we get that 15 feet. Click once, and let's zoom all the way out here until it snaps, and click twice. Let's hit escape twice, and now you can see it created level 3. Because we had that checkbox selected on the options bar, it automatically created a plan view that is associated with this level. And now we have a blue head here. So now if I were to rename this to level 2, right, and I'm about to hit enter now, and I hit enter, Revit asks me, would you like to rename corresponding views? What it's asking is, you see on the left, right here in my project browser, that level 3 is associated or linked to this 3D level 3, this datum element. They're linked, so it's asking, do you want to rename them so that everything's nice and relating to each other? The answer is yes. In this case, this goes to level 2, that one goes to level 2. Okay. So you don't automatically need a plan view for every level that you create. However, because I am motivating you to limit the amount of levels you create to building stories, that is a safe rule to have. That every time I create a level, I will need a plan view, a bird's eye view of this level. But you can delete a structural plan. If I hit delete, I can delete it and the levels still exist. The only difference is that Revit lets you know, remember Revit is communicating with you, it lets you know that this level doesn't have a plan view associated with it. In this case, it tells you that by changing the color of the level head from blue to white. Okay, so these are all just good tips that you should know. It's Revit behavior, so that as you really start populating your model and it really starts getting more and more complicated and the file gets heavier, you understand Revit's behavior and you're not necessarily surprised with how it's acting. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick undo and make sure that both of them are selected here. Now let's create a level the other way, the original way that I showed you guys. So let's select this level. Let's hit copy on our contextual tab up here. Contextual tab. Let's hit copy. And let's just copy it up by 15 feet. You can see that the level head is white. So now I can hit view, plan views, structural plan, and it gives me the available level that has no plan views associated, and I could hit OK, and it creates level 3. Now, another workflow that you can go on, if I delete level 2 and level 3, and now we are active in my elevation, you can see that both of those level heads are white. So now I can go back to my View tab, hit Plan Views, and under Structural Plan, now I have both of those levels highlighted or available for selection. Now I can hit Control on my keyboard, hit Control, select level 3, and now hit OK, and now both of them populate. So there's many different workflows that you can implement to make your life easier here. You don't need to create a level, create the plan view, right? You don't need to go to Structure tab, right? What I mean, Structure tab, and come over to level in your elevation and create them that way. You can create them any way that you want. It's just knowing what your options truly are. Okay?